This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you drive long haul, short haul, or heavy haul, they're here to empower and inspire women in the trades on tncradio.live. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. We're a show designed to empower and inspire women drivers, women in the trades, and everywhere. We feature champions and trailblazers in the industry, compelling topics and information, and even celebrity interviews that are of interest to women. No topic is not allowed on our rig. We're here for women. I'm Shelley and...
I'm Kathy.
And I'm Idella.
Hey, Idella.
Hi.
Trucking is an essential industry across North America, and drivers are our frontline workers. The United States depends on trucks to deliver nearly 70% of all the freight every year. Canada also depends very heavily on trucking. Our drivers are champions, especially our women drivers. Today, we have an amazing woman driver who's been a trailblazer for women in trucking for decades. She's a true champion who's worked tirelessly for the industry and for drivers. She's a long-haul driver who's been an owner-operator. Idella Hansen is a founding board member of TEARS, Truckers Emergency Assistance Responders, and the treasurer of Real Women in Trucking. She's mentored many women in the industry and sets a terrific example. Welcome, Idella. It's an honor to have you on the show with us.
Oh, it's a true pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's definitely my pleasure.
You know, Idella, you've done so many things and you've had such an interesting life. We want to learn more about you. What motivated you? How did you become so successful as a professional woman driver? Did you always want to drive semi when you were a child, or?
Well, I had a pedal car when I was 3 years old, and Dad always said I was going to be a driver.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, my little blue pedal car. At 11, a neighbor man was getting really old, and he needed somebody to drive him down to Orange County to the roller derby. So he taught me how to drive a car, 41 Chrysler with suicide doors. So at 11 years old, I was driving down the interstate, and I've always, from then on, that's all I wanted to do was drive.
Wow.
And I got in my first truck at 18.
Really? Wow. Now
Yeah,
that was
a
young.
gas tanker.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't legal. It wasn't legal. I know. I was. It was a company. It was a family business, and I was helping them wet hose equipment out at Canyon Lake in Lake Elsinore, California. So that was my first experience, and I did deliver a few gas stations. Was it legal? No, I was a bad girl, but you know, the gas had to go.
You knew what you were doing, obviously.
Yeah, and driving has always been second nature to me, and I even tell people now. I look at it, if it will crank, I can drive it. It may take me a few minutes to figure it out, but if it'll crank, I can drive it. I can make it run. I run forklifts at work. I load my own trailers on occasion. Nothing hard, but we put the stuff in the vault, and we have to load our own trailers and unload them. So quite proficient with a forklift.
Mm-hmm.
Just not scared. I'm just not scared. Ran a front end loader at IP to load my own trailers with bark and fuel. So I just feel comfortable.
Well, I want to commend the family that gave you such a chance at 18, and being a woman at the time, that was really unusual.
You marry the guy that owns the gas station as part owner in the bulk plant. That's how that happens.
Aha. Okay.
Okay.
If you marry into in the Hansen family, if you were married to a Hansen, you were working. That's all there was to it.
Sure. And maybe he didn't want to argue with you when you said, "I'm getting behind the wheel," right?
No, probably not. Probably not. He was quite helpful. Not that he ever taught me how to do anything, but he always was very good at giving me opportunities to expand my horizon. And he was an excellent mechanic. So I had the family and the experience behind me to do what I wanted to do.
So you had some champions. That's so important.
Well, not quite at first. Dad wasn't too impressed for a long time, but he finally came around.
Okay. So he had other ideas of what you should be doing?
he had some very distinct ideas what women in trucking and women in the military were. And at least he was forward thinking enough to realize and pay attention and learn and realize that what he thought was not true. So
That's excellent. How was your mom about that?
Mama never left the house. My mother never learned how to drive. She was well educated. She was smart, but she was an ill woman, so she never left the house. So my dad was my champion. You know, he was a carpenter and all that sort of stuff, and always told me to be independent, self-sufficient, and depend on and keep it in my name.
Oh, really? Okay. Good advice, though. You know, you learn to basically take care of yourself.
Well, I was just going to say, referring back to when you said you were operating the loader and the forklift and how, you had no fear and stuff. I am a heavy equipment operator by trade now for the last 9 years. And it's not most women, when they think of operating equipment, they get intimidated and they're like, oh my God, I can't do that. And that's like either way too big or they don't even know how to even approach the thought process of getting on a piece of equipment. And I have to say that you're absolutely right. You have to have that either no fear or I'm just going to try it and see what gadget works, what does what lifts, what turns, what, how to move this thing. Or you can feel the fear and do it anyway, which is my motto, right? Because some of the equipment that I operate is some of the largest equipment in the world. But my gosh, any women listening, you can do it. If I can do it, if Idella can do it, anybody can do it, right? It is such a rush.
The day of being helpless, when the gas stations started having self-service and the women pull their hands up, the day of being helpless isn't cute anymore.
I don't think it was ever cute.
That's so long gone. Yeah.
Oh, please help me. It's like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, like, move over. Let me operate this thing.
Yeah, lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way, right? Yeah. We got this.
How this done? Well, I would absolutely love. Where do you operate? What mine? Obviously, it's a mine.
Yeah, it's an open pit mine up in northern Canada. It's functioned by ExxonMobil, which is Imperial up here in Canada. But it's 110 kilometers north of Fort McMurray in Alberta. It's way far, far, far north, almost to the line of Northwest Territories. It's quite the job. Actually, it's the best career for me, best career plan change ever, from nursing to this. It's been phenomenal. Yeah.
So I ask you, now the cab of that truck is all self-contained. It's air conditioned, heated.
Oh yeah, it's top of the line. It's like a Cadillac in there. Honestly, you have Caterpillar builds the best equipment and the best engines ever. And it's smooth riding. I mean, it's also how you operate too. I mean, if you're going to go Mach 10, well, that's a little different because the roads are pretty rough sometimes. But no, everything is heated seats, air conditioning seats. I mean, you got lumbar support, you got, the works. And it's got there's 286 sensors in that thing. There's cameras all around because it's so big. You can fit 30 people on the deck alone. Right.
Oh,
that's
amazing.
Yeah, you can't see anything on the side, so you need cameras all around these trucks, and so yeah, it's even got. I don't know if you guys have this in trucks. We have a DES system. It's a safety system for when you get tired at work. So we have cameras that are only aimed at your eyes. So on night shift, because we work 13-hour nights or shifts, days or nights, for 14 days straight. So it's a long stretch. It's all we do is sit, drive for 13 hours. And so these cameras, if you close your eyes longer than 3 seconds, your seat will vibrate and an alarm will scream in your ear, and it scares the living daylights out of you. Honest to God, every time it goes off, if you sneeze and you keep your eyelids closed a little too long, the alarm will go off. Well, when that alarm goes off, there's a sensor that sends it. There's somebody down in Houston, Texas, which is watching all the eyes on all the cameras on all the equipment, and they see that I have my eyes closed. Well, they're going to call my dispatch, and my dispatch is going to call me to say, hey, if you're tired, we're going to pull over, we're going to get your supervisor to come, and you're going to have a discussion with your supervisor. Because our equipment is so big and it's such a dangerous job that, I mean, it was proven that there was a driver, like when we were doing the testing, he was driving with his eyes closed for 17 seconds with a fully loaded truck.
Oh, that's scary.
That's very scary, right? So these DSS system, I think a lot of the trucks should have them. It would, even in commercial truck driving, because it works wonders. It doesn't show anything but your eyes. That's it. That's all you see, right? And it's not like an invasion of your privacy, but it really helps for when you're tired and you close your eyes a little 2 seconds. Let me tell you, that alarm up your butt, it gets you awake right quick.
Oh, yeah. Better than a real big shot of espresso.
Oh my God. You're like, whoa, okay. I'm up, I'm awake. I'm good.
I'm good for a while. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, fortunately, I those are long shifts, and we have long shifts in what we do. But I'm solar powered. I do all the day driving, and my grandson does all the night driving. So I'm the one that gets to, unless we're in a Federal Reserve place, I load the truck back and do everything myself.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm in uniform and I have my guns on, but unless it's a Mint or a Federal Reserve, then we both have to be up. But I'm solar powered, so I get all the day shift. But I get a lot of work, in and out, dropping hook and all that sort of stuff, load a trailer. But now he sleeps, and he sleeps really hard, and he is an outstanding night driver. And it's been a thrill to run. I've run team with him for 3 years now, and it's been awesome.
Wow,
that would be an incredible bonding experience with your grandson.
How many men, and it's hard for me to call him a man, because he's my grandson.
Sure.
But he'll be 29 on his birthday, and he's got 4 or 5 years under his belt now. And how many grandsons can say they spent 7/24 with their grandmothers for weeks and weeks at a time?
They can't.
And didn't kill each other,
Yeah.
I bet he's learned a lot from you, Idella.
I've learned a lot from him.
Interesting.
He spends a lot of time listening to podcasts and stuff like that, and he is constantly educating me. And of course, he started riding with me when he was a toddler, so getting in the truck was just second nature to him. He was piddling around with the Domino's job, and I asked him if he was through messing around and ready to get a real job. So I've started 2-step grandsons and 1-step grandson into the trucking business.
Wow, good for you.
So you're a champion all over the place, Idella.
Well, I got tired of helping them out with money, get a real job.
Yeah, there you go.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
Now, when you work that many days on in 13, 14-hour shifts, whether it's days or night, now, do you stay up at the mine or do you travel back and forth to your home?
No, I live 2 weeks up at camp in the mine. We have we fly up there. It's an hour and 15-minute flight, and then we take a 45-minute bus ride to site. And then I have a room there for the last 9 years. I have my own room, and we live there for 14 days, and then I get 14 days off. And so I just recently moved to California. So now I fly back and forth, California to work. So, and then I also get 6 weeks vacation every year. So it's actually to me, I think it's the best job in the world, honestly. Because of all the time off, right?
Look at that. It's so awesome because 2 weeks. Yeah, now I can't complain. I'm home for 9 days. We work 4 weeks and we're home for 9, and I get 5 weeks paid vacation, and I schedule my own home time, and it's guaranteed, and they pay us to come home and pay us to come back out. But that is so awesome. So might I ask you where in California you're living?
Los Angeles.
Okay. I'm going to have to come see you. I was born in Long Beach and raised in Lake Elsinore.
Oh,
I didn't know that, Idella. Very interesting.
Oh my gosh. I would love to visit you. And man, I'll go for a ride with you on my days off.
There you go.
Oh my God.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, no, it really is the best gig. Like it's changed my life. As you'll see in the book when I mail it to you, there's been a lot of hardships in life and losing my nursing career, and to find when I lost my nursing career, I was 42, and to find it was really hard to find something that would motivate me and inspire me and challenge me. And so learning to operate equipment did just that. And it's been the best thing ever. And I tell every woman out there, you got to try it.
So what pointed you to that particular job? Or did you
it was a
pick up
career
equipment?
planning workshop. I went to a career planning workshop for 3 days, and they'd give you aptitude tests and personality tests. And on the third day, the lady gave me my thing back, my test back, and in big letters on the top, it said heavy equipment operator. I laughed so hard, I just about fell off my chair, honest to God. I'm like, that's the most ridiculous career I've ever heard. I said, lady, I'm 42. I said, I don't even like equipment. I'm not mechanically inclined. And I said, I'm a woman. And I said, it's a man's job. I said, your test is wrong. And she pushes the test back to me, and she raised her eyebrow, puts a hand on her hip, and says, if only you'd believe in yourself a little bit, missy, you'd see the test is right. So, yeah. So that's how that happened.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. Yeah. Well, we have a nonprofit organization here that she sent me to, which is Women Building Futures, which gets women into the non-traditional trades. And I was really fortunate because the day I walked in was the day ExxonMobil happened to be there, and they were sponsoring 16 women to get into the trades to take a 12-week heavy equipment course. And 170 women applied, and I got picked out of the 16, and we did the course. And out of the 16, they hired 11, and that was 9 years ago. Yeah,
that is so awesome. My nieces and most of my nieces from my brother up in Massachusetts are like 10 years younger than I am, 10, 15 years younger than I am. And they all have non-traditional jobs. One paints submarines.
I think it's fabulous.
Submarines? One does construction work.
Wow.
They're all in, and they all are in those groups of women. I'd have to look up what the group is, but one's an electrician. Another one's a plumber.
That's fabulous.
That is.
It's
absolutely.
a non-traditional family.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome. I love you all.
Yes. So are all the women in your family, Idella, pretty motivated and not afraid to take anything on?
I think on my brother's side they were, but see, I didn't meet this family until 2 years ago.
Oh.
This was family of my brother, my oldest brother, Ralph, and I won't go into the details, but I actually just met 2 years ago, Christmas. They had a Christmas party, and I drove up there in my pickup from work there in New Jersey, and I met 45 of them. I was auntie to 45 of them, including one that was older than me.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, the man populated Massachusetts.
Aha.
So, and it's a wonderful family. It really is. We had Christmas in July this year up there, and we were rocking the neighborhood. It is a heck of a family.
Woo.
Sounds like you really found some soulmates there. People that kind of think like you do.
Well, Miss Kathy, what did your family think of what you were going to do and what the direction you were heading?
For the heavy equipment, oh my God, they thought I was nuts because I was 42 at the time, right? And they were like, Kathy, you're a nurse. I'm like, you know what? Nursing isn't working for me. So it was really, they thought I was crazy, and that, that because I guess the not the old school kind of thinking, but that operating heavy equipment is for men. But I've never listened to what anybody's really ever told me when I should do something. So if I feel it's something I got to do, I'm going to do it. That's just the way it is. And so now that I've done this, and now that I've written my book, I'm going to say the hundreds of thousands of women that I've been able to inspire by my change of career, by my, picking myself up because I was drunk and homeless and all this. Oh my God, I was a mess and suicidal and just the transformation and what I do now. It's the hundreds of thousands of people of women, men too, but mostly women, have inspired them to, you know what, to maybe think outside, a little bit outside the realm of their normal thoughts. You know what, maybe it is possible. You know, I can drive a truck. I can do this without automatically closing themselves off to a golden opportunity, right?
Just by thinking, oh yeah, well, I've never thought of driving truck. You know, I drove flatbed for years and years and years.
Mhm.
And the one lady asked me, "So what do you do when you get a flat tire?" I said, "I go to the truck stop and get it fixed, just like everybody else."
Yeah.
Though having been an owner operator, I have changed my own tires on trailers and tractors. I had all the equipment to do it and could do it, but you just have to be smart. You don't work
Yeah.
smarter, not harder, you know. But
Sure.
I think that, again, I tell the women, of course, I'm 72. I'll be 72 in April. And
Oh my goodness. And you're
the
still
standard-
driving. You're a rock star. You're my
Yes, she
hero.
is.
I love you.
Idella is very much a rock star in this industry. Absolutely.
well, the question is, when are you going to retire? And when they pry my cold dead hands off the steering wheel.
Oh my God.
You
I
love
don't
what you
want-
do. That's really,
Yeah.
a lot of people can't say that.
Yeah.
Well, I have a girlfriend that just turned, how old is Sandy? She's 75. She just turned 75. I have another one that's 79, and they're both still driving. But no, I don't want to
Wow.
quit. This is it. What keeps me going. I got to
Yeah.
have a reason. I need to be responsible. I have to have a goal. I have to have a
Mhm.
deadline. Otherwise, I'd sit in the chair for
Yeah.
hours and watch
do
TV
what? Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
or
right.
quilt with my daughter. But you know,
Yeah, you're
Um,
absolutely right. That purpose, that sense of purpose is priceless, right?
And it's your passion. What do you like the most, Idella, about driving? Is it the long haul, seeing the scenery, meeting people?
I think it's more, well, when you're driving a truck like I do, you have as much contact with people as you want. You know, you got your CB radio, you got your telephone, you got social media. You know,
Uh-huh.
when I first started, it was pretty lonely. When they first came out with the talking books on cassettes, not cassettes, but on the old 8-track, whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh.
I've been listening to books, and I would die without my books. Of course, now I have them on my phone. But now I forgot what your question was.
What you like the most when you're out on the road?
What do I like the most?
Uh-huh.
I've seen the country, the Oregon, the canyons. I've
Mhm.
seen triple rainbows.
Ooh.
I've seen moose. I've come face to face with moose going up to Oregon. The scenery, not so much anymore because I've seen it time and time again. I do like the new stuff, but I like the challenge. That's what I look for. And I always tell people, I said, well, can you back it in there? Well, if it'll fit, I can put it in there. Just give me a minute. It's the challenge. Every time I sit in that seat, okay, it's a new day. I woke up on the green side and I'm happy and I'm ready to go. It's just, and I like people saying to me, can you send that, calling the boss man and say, can you send that gray-haired old gal back again? We like her. And it's all about service. And I love the people. I really do love the people. I always have.
That makes a difference, you know.
Well,
And this
now,
is-
Kathy, what do you do 13 hours when you're up there? Do you listen to books? Do you sing? Do you have music? Do you dance in the seat? What do you do?
I do all of the above. I also operate the largest water truck in the world while I'm up there, and it holds 52,000 gallons of water. And
Crap.
I know it's massive, and it's fabulous because all I do all day is just push a button and the water shoots out the back out of the sprayers. So I just drive around, and everybody loves me because it's so dusty in the summer that I just go around and I make sure there's no dust. It's a great job. But it so happens that truck holds 52,000 gallons. Well, I got to sit under this giant pipe that brings the water in. It takes 30 minutes for the pipe to fill up the tank. Well, I do that about 10 times a day. Well, I actually wrote my book, Dream Big, sitting in that water truck. I had to hand write the book because we're not allowed any electronics, no phones or nothings. So, yeah. So I use that truck as my office. I do a lot of workshops. I work with women in shelters. I go to everywhere I go. I travel. I make sure I visit youth in schools, kids in juvenile homes. I've now started visiting prisons. And so I use my 13 hours, my time, to create things, to figure out, well, what can I do to make a ripple effect of change in the world, using my own personal story and strength and courage to inspire other people that, you know what, maybe it's not, even if you're having a bad day, even if you are like at what you think is your bottom, you can still get back up. It doesn't matter, right?
Oh, you've got a
you are
great
so
message.
awesome.
Yeah.
You are now my new hero. There is no doubt about it.
So now my book is in 5 languages. I wrote a children's book last year when COVID hit, and that's because I started. I do volunteer work with Operation Underground Rescue Railroad, and a rescue, I should say, and that's for kids that are being trafficked for human sex trafficking.
Yes.
And so
I worked with Tawala at Truckers Against Trafficking.
Yeah, so it's a big thing, and because I grew up in a lot of child sexual abuse and a lot of violence. So I remember, was it the first year in Grenada down in the Caribbean? I was in a church with 138 students, and I had brought these hands of hope, and I was looking at them talking about good touch, bad touch, and I knew that my book was too much for them. I needed to bring it down to a level that they could understand, right? So what can you give? You can't really change the social structure of a country. So what can I give to give them hope? So I wrote a children's book based on my own personal story, but I made it mystical. It's called The Mystical Swordsman of the Sugmad, which is a Sanskrit name for God. And it's my own personal spiritual journey, so they can kind of relate. But I made it mystical for children, and that's in 5 languages now. So and I got a workbook on the go. It's got 6 chapters for people wanting to do some inner work, and I use my time wisely.
Awesome. I can't write now. See, now I'm impressed. Now I have helped several writers do books and read them for me. Ann Bailey, Inga. Altschbacher, she's a Holocaust survivor. I helped her with 1 or 2 of her books, and Teresa Burrell, who's a high school friend, but I can't write. Anything that you read that I have ever written, Sandy Long edited it for me, and she's gone now, so I don't have anybody. If it's got my name on it, somebody doggone sure help me with it.
Yeah.
I can't write, and Desiree Woods, she can really write, and she says stuff, and I think, I knew all of that, but I can't get it out. I can't say it, so I guess I'm more hands-on, working with a couple of charities and stuff. But you are so interesting. I think we should become good friends. I think we should. I think
so. You know what? When I mail you my book, I'll put in the children's book so you can have it too. So I'll throw it in.
You're so awesome. Well, when I put in my coloring book, I'll send you my book with my pictures in it.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, Kathy rocks. She's a real advocate for women and girls. It's just amazing.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, is building a positive image of trucking by telling the story of the hardworking drivers and industry professionals who support the industry. And you can be a part of it. Learn more about TMAF and how you can join and be a part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting TMAF's website at truckingmovesamerica.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our latest channel, TikTok.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
And Idella, you've been a real advocate and mentor to women. You're involved with some great organizations that help women, minorities, and the disenfranchised. I mean, it's really, really impressive.
It's important that when people get abused, whether it's sexually, mentally, or physically, and it knows no gender. I mean, usually it's women, but it does know no gender.
No,
and in the training fleets, it is rampant. And people just don't realize it because they get hush. And we have been instrumental with the lawyers in bringing all this stuff and getting records released. About some of this stuff, and it's important. It's so important that because the trucking industry is picking up women from the poverty level, and there are people that have a business model that are are bringing them in and taking advantage of them, whether it's physically, it's bad business models. And it's so important. Yes, we've been to DC a couple of times. We've worked with the FMCSA, and some other ladies in the group are really picking up the ball. I've slowed down a little bit on that, but they're really smart. And we're going to change the industry.
Good.
Anybody, and you can ask my daughter. Somebody said, well, we can't do anything about it. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Can't never did nothing.
That's right. Yeah. It's just one at a time. Just like Kathy, I think you are so awesome. I am definitely going to be your champion.
Right on.
That's great.
Right on. When I get my bobblehead, I have a little bobblehead. I'll mail you one.
Oh, those are so cool. The Kathy bobblehead. The Kapow Power, isn't that what it is?
Kapow, yeah. It's got a little mini. It's me in my coveralls, and it's got a mini haul truck at the base. So
it's great.
That is so awesome.
Oh man.
So Shelley, I want to thank you so much. I just cannot believe that I'm being introduced to. She's famous. She's wonderful. She's a writer. She's an author. And she drives a big truck.
Big truck. Well, my book is called Dream Big for a reason, right?
That is so awesome.
You're very welcome, Idella, but we're honored to have you because you've been a real champion for years in the industry.
I'm just the old gray-haired lady in the old gray truck.
You've got a lot of wisdom, a lot of talent. You've got spunk, right? I mean, what does it take to do what you did? Especially when you were in the industry, I'm sure you got pushback from men saying, what are you doing behind the wheel? I mean, did it make you mad? Did it make you motivated? How did you deal with all that?
It just made me want to show them that they were wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. It's so, go ahead and keep on thinking what you're thinking, but watch this. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've gotten out when I was backing into difficult places, and they're all standing out on the dock watching. And I would walk over and I'd hold out my hand, and he says, what? I said, I want my half of the winnings. Who won? Who bet for me and who bet against me? And I want the half of the winnings.
There you go. Good for you.
More times than you can shake a stick at, you can see them looking, and thinking, oh, yeah. And I've had them say to me, he said, well, it's kind of a difficult backhand. I said, I've been doing it 35 years. Oh, I've heard that before. Well, okay, you just whatever you think, buddy.
Yeah.
Just get out of my way. I got things to do.
That's right.
And I'm still that way. My grandson says I'm a force to be reckoned with. Don't piss grandma off.
That's a huge compliment, though.
Excuse me.
Force to be, I've been called a force of nature too. Actually, my nickname down in the islands is Tuckero Tornado.
I love it.
So you haven't just worked in Canada. You worked in several different mines.
No. In the mine, I just work in Canada up here. Yeah, only here. Oh. But it's because everywhere I travel, I always make a point of going to work with the communities, right? It doesn't matter where I go. That's the first thing. Bring me to the hood. Bring me where people are struggling. That's who I want to talk to. Don't put me in some fancy hotel where people are all fake, right? I want to see people that are real, that are hurting, that need my help, that, need anything. A word of inspiration.
That's interesting because I did visit some of the orphanages and stuff when I went down into some foreign countries, but I haven't done a lot of that, but it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. It's I do take Kathy time as well, but it's also very important to me. Like in the morning, I'll go to the schools. The afternoon is my beach time. In the evenings, I'll do the women's shelters, the prisons, and the communities.
Well, Kathy, that's you're a true champion.
Our community is really where it's at. Even if it's just driving the garden tour bus for the Daffodil Festival, the community is what it's all about.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the foundation of humanity, and certainly the driver community, most definitely. Our country, and this is something that I've preached about for quite some time, doesn't recognize how important drivers are, and what Idella and Kathy are doing to help other women. That's huge. We need advocates. We need people who can do positive things, and both of you are doing that. I mean, you know how to pay it forward.
the biggest message for anybody is that you have to believe in the power within yourself,
Yeah.
not what other people are saying or their opinions, or it doesn't matter. If you believe that you can do it, that you have the power,
Yep.
you can do anything, right?
Oh, absolutely. So many of the women say, well, I'm 52. Am I too old? I'm 61. Am I too old? And
No,
no,
you're
you're
not.
not too old. I know a lady not just too long ago who was 70. She was my age, and she went to school and got her CDL and is now driving a mail truck.
Really?
Excellent. That's excellent.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not too old. You're not
No.
too old.
Yeah.
Well, there are
That's
people
Now,
right.
they
who
may
make it.
eventually take my driver's license away from me, but not yet.
Yeah, not yet. That's all that
Not
matters. Not yet.
You'll be driving as long as you want, Idella. Absolutely.
hope.
Yes.
Let's hope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So what motivates you, Idella? There are a lot of things that you're involved with, some great nonprofits like Truckers Christmas Group and certainly Real Women in Trucking. What really is some of your passion? What kind of changes do you think need to be made, and where do you think we could make the world a better place?
I have a couple of things I'm passionate about, and education is one of them. We need to train the trainers. We need to have a curriculum. We need a criteria, and we need an answering system, accountability. And it's very doable. There are people out there that are putting it together, and it needs to be nationwide. It needs to be universal, just like the school curriculum. You know, to graduate from high school, you have to have this, this, and this. And I think training fleets that are taking advantage. I think education is where it's at. And if they don't step up to the table and don't meet the criteria and the curriculum and the accountability, then they don't get to train. It's very, very important. And they're trying to do some initiatives up at FMCSA, and they're going to fund it, but they're one of the biggest groups that's going to do it is one of the worst systems in the country. I mean, they just lost a $5 million suit because of some of the things they do. So it's important that we keep pointing this stuff out and keep pointing them out and reminding them and telling them it's education. Yep. And every time somebody says something, we want to get to them before it happens. I don't want to have to rescue that lady because she was abused and put out of the truck in Colorado like I did last year. And there was a small town and it was cold and it was COVID and they wouldn't let her come in the truck stop. I don't want to have to do that again. It shouldn't have happened. All of this should have been stopped before it ever happened. Stop it before it starts.
What happened with this particular individual? So there may be people not aware of this, and this is some good education that people need to know about.
It was a small town in Colorado, and she called in. She did have a rider with her and a kitty cat, and I won't name the company, but they decided that she had got into it with her dispatcher or whatever, and they decided to put her out of the truck. So they sent a cop and a wrecker after the truck at 2:00 in the morning in this small town. She was sleeping. They gave her 20 minutes to get her stuff out of the truck. And it was 2:00 in the morning. There was a small truck stop there called the Coffee Cup, but it was COVID, so nobody was allowed to stay inside. She couldn't go into there was a hotel there, but they were full. They were full because of all the construction people. There was no rooms. And it was 50 miles to the nearest town. There was no Uber, there was no Lyft, there was no taxis.
Oh my gosh.
And they were looking at being out on the street that night in the cold.
That's just inhumane.
It is. It's terrible. It's awful. And it happens all the time. Drivers have been put out in rest areas, just drove off and left. It's horrible. But this particular time, I just happened to be at the house and I sat there and I thought, okay, my local church has a place where they put travelers that have fallen on hard times out on the road and put them up for a couple of nights. So how do you find that? So I called the mayor of the town and answered the phone, and it just so happened his wife owned a restaurant there and he owned the newspaper, and I didn't get to talk to him, but she says, I have somebody, and there was a retreat there, a church retreat that rented out rooms, to people, and we actually got them a very nice room for $40 that night and got them put in.
Wow.
But she had to
That
get out of the
was
truck.
wonderful.
She didn't have her charger. Her phone wasn't charged. I mean, you get woke up in the middle of the night and you got 20 minutes to get your stuff out of the truck, what you need.
Yeah, you're going to forget stuff. Oh, it's terrible.
And once the truck is impounded and taken, you can't get, even if it's your driver's license or your wallet, you cannot get back in that truck without a letter from the company saying that you can get in it.
Wow.
And I'm sure the companies are not cooperative on that sort of thing, too.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. So that was just one example. And I had to pull, I'm not going to tell you what I said to you, but I had to pull a rabbit out of the hat. There you go. That's a polite way of saying it.
Yeah.
We get these calls and it's just, it's devastating. It's just devastating.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I pull a lot of rabbits out of my hats.
Well, and you're helping so many people. That's wonderful. And you've also mentored a lot of people, from what I understand. And that's important, too, for women or people who think they can't compete in the industry, they can't do it. You're there to say, yeah, you can.
Yeah, well, just like Kathy, you just have to tell them, some people just aren't made for it. And you have to be careful when you're mentoring like that, because they can drain you dry. They want you to have all the answers. And if you don't have the answers, then you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
You really have to encourage them to research and find stuff on their own. And you learn to give them little tests. And it sounds terrible, to see if they're really interested in trying to do for themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
for them.
Even in heavy equipment, I say that, but we've had, a few women over the years that they're just not meant for it. Like they just can't seem to get the concept or backing up, it's not for every single person, but hey, if your heart's in it and you really want it, you can do it. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I don't know about you, but I found when I was younger and pulling flatbed and stuff, the guys wanted to do stuff for me. And I was never shy about asking. I've never done this before. I've never done this.
Yeah.
Some equipment and stuff. Would you show me how to do it? And I said, no, I didn't ask you to do it for me. I want you to show me how to do it and let me do it. And I was very adamant about it, because when I got on the other end, what am I going to do?
Well, exactly.
You're not there.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I very much resent women that are not women, but drivers that put the little finger in the dimple in the cheek and say, oh, I'm so cute. Could you help me with this? That just burns my toast.
Yeah.
So, you have to really, and mentoring can be a job. I backed off quite a bit. I pick and choose. And most of my gals have been successful, and my guys. I've got guys too. What I do is specialized, and I encourage them to look for specialized work, specialized trucking. Just like Kathy, I think that is so awesome. It just
Oh, I didn't tell you that the grader I operate, it's a 24M. It is the biggest grader in the world. It is actually bigger than the truck that you drive.
Holy crap! I'm sorry.
The tractor and trailer all in one piece. My grader is bigger than that, because when a flatbed comes beside me in the mine, say they're bringing some pipe, and they come by me in the grader and I'm operating, and I'll look down at the driver and I'll wave to him, and I get such a kick out of it. It's so much fun. I'm like, hey there.
And he looks like an ant down there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Looks like a Tonka toy. Oh my goodness.
It does. Yeah.
Well, I thought I was special because hauling them chips, I would. My husband was the millwright mechanic, so he showed me how to operate the front end loader, because everybody, all the drivers were loading their trucks, and I was having to wait for somebody to come out and do it. So went in on the weekend, I learned how to do it. The biggest problem I had with that is you ran up a ramp and then you dumped it over into the trailer off the end of the ramp, but it didn't have any brakes. If you hit the brakes, it'd roll backwards and you dump all the stuff on the end of the ramp. So it was a real interesting piece of equipment. So
that's the challenge part.
It was a challenge, and I loved it until I fell off in the trailer one day. Yeah.
Oops.
Ooh. Oh, I couldn't get out. And it was at night. And the guard that ran the scales came around and did his checks, and he come around and I hollered at him. His name was Fulmer. I said, hey, can you open the gate for me? He says, what are you going to give me? opened the gate. He opened the tailgate for me. I couldn't. It was smooth sides. I couldn't climb out. I didn't have any way to climb out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my!
But like even in my, there's mistakes that you make. That's how you learn. There's the doozy, the some of the close calls that I've had, or it doesn't matter. Like I'm sure in your 54 years of trucking, you said you must have seen some really not so good days, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Driving up on the ramp and with a cab over, and I missed the lip, and not realizing it. My right tire was on the my steer tire was on the outside of the lip, and the lip that was on the ramp, which is open on both sides, was between my duals and my trailer tires. So to drive off of it where it pulled in, I had to, oh my God, I got off of there, came around and tried again.
Yeah.
It was so scary.
But that's part of experience, right?
Sure.
That's part of learning. It's like, oh my gosh, I know.
Oh my God, what do I do now, Uncle Boy?
But you know what? You pulled through, and I imagine that people who you've mentored as drivers are better drivers for it. You've got the experience. Yeah.
I love it when they call me and say, well, I did this. Is there a solution? Oh, yeah. There's always a solution. Miss Schneider dropped her trailer and forgot to dolly down. She says, I can't get it up. And I said, well, you just go on. I said, I got to go up there and I'll get that trailer. It didn't take 5 minutes. I know how to get them up. If they're not damaged, if they're empty, it's easy to get them up. You just got to know the tricks. That's all.
Sure. And that's what you know.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Kathy DeCaro is nothing short of amazing. She not only drives the world's biggest truck as a heavy equipment operator in northern Alberta, Canada. She's an international motivational speaker and the author of Dream Big, an autobiography about overcoming a lifetime of trauma and abuse that led to dreams of success. Kathy inspires people the world over to change their lives and improve their self-worth. Her book will change your life. She's passionate about personal growth and believes anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they believe in themselves. Her life will amaze you and seriously inspire you. Be sure to order a copy of her book, Dream Big, on Amazon.com. Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry, our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
We have about 2 minutes left here, Idella.
Already?
Yeah, I know. This has been so much fun. And I knew Kathy and Idella, you guys would just really hit it off. I mean, it's just so very cool. Idella, do you have any messages for women who are thinking about going into trucking, who are in trucking or the trades, and maybe, having a hard time? What kind of encouragement do you have?
I get asked that all the time, and you just got to persevere and just keep on trying. But I've gotten to the point now, everybody has so many tips and cues. I said, don't leave home without a jacket and don't pee into the wind.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a rock song, wasn't it, at one time? Or
no, but it should be. Kathy, you need to write a song now. You've written books, a couple of books. You need to write me a song. Don't leave home without your jacket and don't pee into the wind.
I love it. Kathy, that's your assignment for the next 2 weeks. How about that?
Oh, okay.
We'll give it to Bill Weaver and have him write the music for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He could have
I did write a screenplay. I'm writing a screenplay to make my book into a movie. So that's the next thing.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Well, now it won't be long. Nessa Simi will be coming out with the documentary called Drivers. And that's all about Desiree Wood and the rest of us old lady drivers in the trucking industry. So I really recommend that when it comes out that y'all should watch it.
Oh,
Oh, I
absolutely.
will.
And let me know, Idella, when that is so that we can feature that. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see that.
Now, see, when you do the screenplay, you need to have me play a younger you, right?
There you go.
There you go.
Or an older you. This is what I'm going to look like when I'm 70. There you go. I love it.
This has been
it.
such a pleasure, Idella. You are such an inspiration. You're so much fun to talk to. And I love what you're doing all the way across the board. How do people reach out to you? Should they reach out to you, the nonprofits you're involved with? I don't know if you want to give them a plug.
Oh, well, yeah. Idella at cdltier.org, Idella at realwomenintrucking.org. You can look me up on Facebook, Idella Marie Williams Hansen. Reach out to me that way. My phone number is posted all over the place. And I don't have a website. I'm not fancy like Kathy.
Oh, come on.
This has been so much fun, Idella, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. This is you're going to inspire a lot of ladies.
Well, Miss Kathy, what's your what's your tip for the day?
Oh boy. You know what? If you don't design your own life plan, if you don't plan your own life, basically, chances are you're going to fall into somebody else's plan. And guess what? Do they got anything planned for you? Nope. Build your own trail, do your own path. Don't worry about anybody else, right? Figure out what you want. Follow your own heart, follow your own path.
Oh, that's awesome.
Love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That inspires me.
Words to live by, Kathy. Love it.
All right.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at info@tncradio.live.
Thank you for listening to another great interview on tncradio.live. And don't forget, be sure to subscribe to our podcast of Women Road Warriors. It's free. All of the material you hear on tncradio.live on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of tncradio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.